recently has affected that. So let's jump right in, shall we? This is kind of gonna be just like a ramble story time, letting you all know what's going on. So I'm gonna start kind of from the beginning for people that may be confused or may not know. So for the past year and a few months, like year and a half-ish, I was living with me, Josh, and then 2 roommates. They were a couple, so it was like 2 couples. And we had lived together for a year, and our lease was ending, and we decided to move. And so we found a place, and we signed another lease with them. We had had no issues. So, like, no issues with them. We had known them from high school. We weren't, like, great friends in high school, you know. We didn't really talk, but, like, we had a few classes together. Like, we knew of them. We knew who they were. We've known them for years. And we had lived together for, like, a whole year, and there were no issues. You know? So, back in August, we moved into our second place because we just needed more space. We needed an upgrade. Some of the roommates just didn't like our last place for certain reasons. So, we decided to move. And I was a little bit apprehensive about it at first, just because I know how much work it is to move, especially when you're in college and you're dealing with a bunch of other stuff at the same time. Like, moving is so hard, and I was kind of the only one out of our group that had the most experience with it, that, like, had experienced searching apartments, signing a lease, like, not living in a dorm, because our roommates had gone from living in dorms to moving in with us. So I just knew going into it, it would be so much work, and I was hesitant about it, and I wasn't really happy about it, but I was fine with moving to a new place if it meant I could get an office. So that was like my, okay, I'll do this so I can get an office type thing. So whatever, we did it. We found a place with enough, like, literally 4 bedrooms for just the 4 of us. So everyone had, like, a good amount of space. There was a garage. We wanted, like, a townhouse, like, in our own, not an apartment, and a backyard, and just, like, all this stuff. And we had checked off all the boxes, except for the fact that it was pretty far away from the school we go to, and, like, the major city. It was like 20 minutes away, and it was in the middle of, like, nowhere, literally. Like, they were brand new, so they were just kind of starting to build a community out there, but there was, like, nothing there, not even, like, a gas station within, like, 5 minutes. So but yeah, so we found the place, we signed the lease, we gave our roommates so many chances and opportunities to, like, say they didn't like the place, and we had toured other places, and they had been like, no, we don't like it, you know. So we all agreed to move in and sign this lease and take this place. Like, we all agreed to it. We didn't think there would be any issues. We figured if they had a problem with something, that they would tell us, like adults. Crazy concept, I guess, I don't know. But we gave them multiple chances to back out, say they weren't comfortable, say they didn't like it. We had even looked for places, just the 2 of us, in case they decided they didn't want to, like, you know, approve a place, or we couldn't find something. But we all agreed, and we moved in August, and we hadn't had any issues so far. And then as we were moving in, we had our first, like, big argument as roommates. Like, I feel like I hear a lot of roommate horror stories about, like, they were stealing my stuff, and, like, just, like, you know, a bunch of annoying stuff, and there wasn't really anything like that here, you know. Like, nothing other than typical roommate stuff, like, hey, can you, like, take out the trash, hey, can you, like, do your dishes, hey, whatever. Like, but we had never gotten in an argument. Everything had been totally fine. Like, I felt like we had become pretty good friends with them. And yeah, I posted about them on my social medias. Like, a lot of you probably have seen them or know of them. I met, you know, some of their family. Like, we were all pretty, like, a pretty tight-knit little group. But as we were moving into our new place in August, we had our first big argument, which I guess should have been kind of a red flag, but whatever, we signed a lease. And naturally, Josh and I were gonna pay more money. We knew that going into it, because we were taking the master bedroom. We had given them the chance. We were like, if you guys want the master, that's fine. Just whoever gets the master is gonna pay extra, because it's a bigger room. But they decided, like, they were like, nah, it's okay, you guys can take it. So we took it, because we had the 2 cats, and we just needed more stuff. We had furniture. They didn't. So anyway, whatever. Long story short, we decided to take the master bedroom, so we would be paying lease, so it would have been summer of 2021 that they would be moving away from the city to go to a different school for a certain program or whatever. So we knew, like, from when we moved in, August, very, very beginning of August of 2020 till August 2021, that by that time we would need to have something figured out, whether we, like, found new roommates or my brother is going to graduate next summer. So we're like, oh, maybe he'll want to move down with us or whatever. But we knew, like, we'd have like a year to kind of figure it out because we weren't going to be living with them past this year. We knew that going in. We knew that they would be leaving eventually, right? So flash forward to October. It's Halloween. Josh and I orchestrate a little Halloween, like, get together, just the four of us at home, and we're just playing board games, hanging out. Everything's normal. And then a few days after that, we get a text from one of them being like, hey, can we have like a roommate meeting? We need to talk to you guys. And we'd done that before, like just like little roommate meetings to just talk about like whatever we needed to talk about. But I remember at that Halloween party, one of the roommates had said something that was like kind of threw me off about how they got into a certain school. And then they kind of just brushed it off. So I was like, okay, whatever. And then we go in and they sit us down and they're like, hey, so we're moving home. And we're like, you know, like, well, yeah, y'all are moving home after this lease. Like, kind of already knew that, kind of already agreed on that. Like, what do you mean? And they're basically just like, no, like, we're breaking the lease and we're moving home. Like, when the semester ends next month, beginning of December. And we were like, hold on, like, you know, like, what? Like, you can't do that. Like, we signed a lease. There's four of us here. Like, you haven't talked to us, spoke to us at all. And turns out that they had went behind our backs and talked to our landlord at the time, made a whole deal with him, told them they were moving out, everything. And keep in mind, I later had them send me the screenshot, so I like knew what was going on. But those screenshots dated back to like beginning of October, like weeks back. So they had told their family, our landlord, basically everyone in their lives, that they were going to move home. And they had known about this for weeks. But then to us, didn't say a word to us, didn't ask our input, didn't ask like what we were going to do. Nothing. Nothing at all. Nothing like was spoken to us. They just made these plans without telling us anything. And so we were like, at first we were like, okay, that's fucked up, but we can just get like replacement roommates. Like, we'll just, you know, look on Craigslist or something for like like we live in a college town, so there's a lot of college students here. I'm sure we could find roommates. And they were like, oh yeah, actually, about that, our landlord has put in a new rule that you can't have roommates move in unless they had lived together prior for over a year. And again, Josh and I moved 4 hours away to go to this school. These two people were like the only people we knew in town. We had never lived with anyone else. So, like, that was out of the question. We couldn't get new roommates. We had no one else that could move in with us. No one else we had lived with for a year. None of that. So we're like, okay, so, like, where does that leave us, basically? And they were like, well, you either have to find a new place to live, or you guys can take over this entire lease by yourself, this 4-bedroom townhouse lease that we definitely could not afford reasonably. Like, I don't know if that was surprising to them that we were like, oh yeah, even if we could he was a little bit too nice. He was just like down to let them get out of this lease with like barely any penalty at all, which was frustrating for us. But whatever. But he did tell us that in order for us to like break this lease, all four of us have to agree. We have to all separately send him a notice letting him know like we'll be moving out within a month or whatever, you know, with a notice. So we knew that technically our roommates could not move out without us like allowing them to. Like we all had to agree. So if we really wanted to, we could have fought it. But for me, like my home, I live at home, I work from home, I'm always home. That's my sanctuary. And I don't do well in toxic or just uncomfortable environments. And I just knew it was going to be so much work to move. But it would be so much harder to like force them to stay at this place and then have them like be angry at us or upset at us because they had already made all these plans with their family. Whatever, they just decided they were, I don't even know if I explained this, but their reasoning for moving home was so that they could save money for their wedding because they just got engaged in the middle of a pandemic, whatever, and so that they could prepare to start school next summer. So it wasn't like they were moving home because like their mom died or like they lost their job or something crazy. It was literally just to save money. So yeah. But whatever, I didn't want to be in a toxic environment anymore. At this point, I was so over it. I was like, okay, that's fine. So we talked to them. We made a deal that like they would give us our deposit and pay any lease breaking fees, and they would just have to wait for us to find a place, and that we would try and find one as soon as possible. So thankfully, even though there's a huge pandemic going on and it's winter, which is like the lowest time for renting, most people move during the summer, thankfully we managed to find a place, which is where we are now, and it's great. We love it. It's definitely like our favorite place that we've lived in. So yeah, we ended up moving at the very, very end of November, and here we are. And naturally, I just kind of like cut off all ties with them because, you know, they really fucked us over. Like the amount of money it took for us, none of my friends or family could come and help me move because it was so last minute with the pandemic and just it being like the holidays. Like no one could find time to come up and help us. So we had to spend hundreds of dollars to hire movers because it was just Josh and I, and we couldn't like lift a couch and stuff. We had to pay 2 rent payments for the month of November and double utilities and just all this stuff and fees to transfer utilities over. Basically just all the typical moving fees that we had just paid in August, we had to do all over again. And so yeah, that was hell. So because of that whole situation, naturally I was just like, you know what, I just kind of cut off all ties with them. So if you don't see them in any more of my posts, or if you're like, wait, didn't she have roommates, or wait, didn't she live in that other place, or wait, I thought you did, yeah, that's why. So that is why we had to move after only living in our last place for not even 4 months. Honestly, it was a blessing in disguise. Like, do I wish we could have just not had to deal with any of that BS? Of course I do, but I am glad to be here now. We found like the perfect place for us and the cats, and it's great. There's like no carpet for the cats. I have my office, there's a garage for my car. Like, it's in a really quiet little neighborhood. It's closer to the city than the other place was. It's in a better area. It's just more affordable, everything. So yeah, so far things are good. And that was going to be the end of my update. Like, I was going to film that video explaining why I moved, and that was going to be it. But then not even a week, maybe 2 weeks after we had moved in here and were settling and we hadn't even finished unpacking, I got a email from YouTube being like, your account, HaleyJean, which was my like secondary, my first YouTube channel that wasn't ASMR, that account got 3 strikes and has been terminated. And mind you, I had never gotten a strike on that account before. I had never like done anything wrong at all. I hadn't even uploaded a video on this day, at Haley Sherble on Twitter is still hacked. Twitter, if you see this, what the fuck? I've sent so many support emails, they've never got back to me. Eventually I just made a new Twitter, at HaleyJean ASMR, go follow it, but whatever. I dealt with some major hacking problems back in September, and when that happened, I changed my password on everything. I set up 2-factor on everything. So I still to this day have no idea how that happened, how I got hacked, whatever. But yeah, so that happened. And then began the process of me trying to get the channel back. And while I was doing that, I was sending so many emails, I was like going back and forth between accounts. I managed to get myself logged out of this channel, my ASMR channel. Hi. So I had access to neither of my accounts, and that's when I made my whole post being like, okay, I can't upload because my channels are locked. And after hours and hours and hours of being on YouTube live support chat, of countless thread emails, I think I was transferred to upwards of 7 people from Google's support team. After days and days and days of just sitting in my bed crying, I was literally so fucking sad. I can't even like explain how traumatizing it was, like thinking that I could lose everything because I had lost my Snapchat, I had lost my Twitter, and I didn't have much hope that YouTube would help me because after like the 4th representative that couldn't help me, I didn't know what to do. So yeah, I was just mentally, emotionally, physically exhausted. And then finally I managed to get back into my ASMR channel, and I managed to get my email back. So Gmail helped me recover my hacked email account, but my YouTube channel was still terminated. So I continued to upload on my ASMR channel and just, you know, post and whatever, but I was still stressed out because my YouTube channel was terminated. Again, I'd gone through like 3 more representatives and none of them would let me like terminate or reinstate my channel. I submitted a form for a terminated channel. Like once your channel gets terminated, you can submit this form explaining what happened, and then they'll reinstate it if they believe, like, you know, if you explain it well enough. I don't know if they just think you deserve to have it back. I had done that once and they had replied and been like, we're keeping your channel terminated. So then I spiraled all over again. I was like planning on just moving on, letting go. Keep in mind, all of my first videos since I was 15 are on that channel. They're private, most of them, but like I have so many memories and videos and content. That was my first ever channel to hit like 1,000 subscribers. Like that was my baby. That was kind of where I got started. So I was accepting the fact that I was losing it, and then, you know, I was just happy I had my ASMR channel and I was just gonna cut my losses. But then magically one day I got an email being like, your channel's back. Sorry it took us so long to get through this, but we figured it out and your channel's back up. And man, I like can't even describe like how good that felt. So after everything, both my channels are back up. I kind of did a little bit of a rebrand because the hackers had changed like the channel name and picture and everything, so I had to change it back. But now it is HaleyJean Gaming, so it's like the same format as HaleyJean ASMR, but HaleyJean Gaming. And I'm gonna keep posting Twitch highlights and stuff over there, so you can go follow me. But yeah, so now I have my channels back. I'm finally settled into my new place, and the holidays are almost over. So I finally found the time to like sit down and film this. But after just everything this year, like all of that happened, but my sister randomly got diagnosed with tics and might have Tourette's. My uncle died. I had to move. I got hacked. I had to move again. I got hacked again. And just after everything this year, I just needed a break. So I took a big fat YouTube break, which was only like a few weeks, but that's big for me because I've never missed like a week ever since I started this channel. And I also decided that I'm gonna be taking a break from school because during all of this, the week when my channel was deactivated and I was depressed and I was like suicidal, it was finals week for school, but I managed to bust my ass and I still made it out with the grades that I myself, but I am just, after this year, especially these last few months, I'm burned out. I'm exhausted, and getting my channel hacked really made me realize like what's important, and that's YouTube. That's literally all I care about. When I didn't have my YouTube channels, I literally felt like I had no purpose. I was so, like, it was so dark, but it put things into perspective for me. So as of right now, I'm just going to be taking the next semester off. So that means I won't go back to school until fall of next year. So with that being said, I'm finally back starting next year, January 1st. We are starting fresh, brand new year, new me, but like legitimately, I'm getting my shit together. I'm gonna do what makes me happy, and I'm just gonna like thrive after the absolute shit show that has been 2020. So yeah, I won't be in school. I'll be completely focused on making content